Okay. Hi there.
There's James.
Who's James?
James is my son. He's a week old. Yeah. So, should I just tell the story?
Yeah, tell me the story.
All right. So, in college, I lived in Nicaragua for a few months on a coffee farm doing an internship. And I didn't really speak Spanish very well, so it was basically hard to communicate at anything more than like toddler level.
By the way, you're pushing the baby stroller now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I lived with a family on a coffee farm, and the dad was the coach of a baseball team, so like a local baseball team. So I was like, oh, I can play baseball, so that will be at least something I can do. That will show them I'm not a completely useless. So
completely useless visitor, gringo.
So we went to a game, and it turned out I actually couldn't play because it was only residents only in the league. But I was like, whatever, I'll go out and shag some balls during warm up and stuff like that. So I was out there. Well, first of all, to get to the field, you sit in the back of a truck and you drive through these mountain coffee farms. And then you get to the field and you have to walk down about a mile down this dirt road to the field, which is an old cow pasture that looked like at one point it had gotten muddy and cows had stomped all over it, and then it dried and hardened. So it was very bumpy with these 6-inch potholes all throughout it from hoof prints. Anyways, that was the field. So they were hitting fly balls, and one came out. I was in the outfield. One came out to me, and it was right at the point where, right in between a dive or a shoestring catch. So I decided to go for the shoestring catch. Dad, do you want to film what it looked like?
Okay.
So for the shoestring catch, I was going for it, and I lunged for the ball, and instead of catching it, I lunged and my leg locked up. So locked that.
I'm not sure I could hear you that part.
So I lunged for the ball and my leg locked up, and I heard this crunching sound.
Did you step in a cow?
Yeah, I hit one of those holes in the field. And I heard this popping sound, crunching sound in my hip, and I kind of stopped, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just sit down for a sec. That was a little much. Don't want to get hurt here in Nicaragua. So I go I limp off the field. No one even really notices that it happened. I limp off the field.
You didn't want anybody to see.
Yeah, I didn't want to make a scene out of it. And I sit down, and it's a doubleheader. So midway through the first game, I have to go pee. So I get up to go pee, and my hip hurts so bad. So bad that I can barely walk. So I basically hobble over 5 feet to the bushes and go pee, and sit back down, and I'm just oh my God, my leg is actually really, really hurt. This is a bad situation. No, and at this point also no one even realizes that I'm hurt. So we sit there, we watch the game. At one point someone hits a foul ball, and it comes right at me, and I move my head out of the way, and it whizzes by me, and everyone's ah!
What did they do?
Well, that's Mexico. This was Nicaragua. So they the ball whizzes by my head, and they think it's kind of funny that it almost hit me. Anyways, at the end of the game, everyone's all right, it was a doubleheader. Everyone gets up to go, and I literally cannot walk. I can barely stand. My hip hurts so bad. Hold on. Thank you. I can't walk. So I try in my broken Spanish to explain what happened, but I don't know how to say, like, I like hyperextended my leg while I was shagging balls in Spanish. So I'm like, the ball, like I hurt my leg, and they're kind of like, they have no idea. So eventually they think like when the foul ball came at me somehow I got hurt by that, but I can't really explain what happened. So what they ended up having to do is they like, because it's like a mile up this hill, even just to get to the road, they have to like, I sling my arms like over two guys' shoulders, and like they like, as I'm like hobbling on one foot up this hill, and like every single step I'm just like like every single step. And of course, like I'm the one that's hurt, and they just like played a doubleheader of baseball, and I was sitting on the sidelines, and now like I'm hurt somehow. And they must have just been like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? So finally we get up to the road, and there's the truck that we're gonna go back in, and like I am in so much pain that like they like lay me down like in the center of the bed of the truck, and they're all like because there's probably like 12 or 15 of us in the bed of like a pickup truck. So they're like all like, because usually we would all fill the whole thing, like kind of crammed in, but I'm like laying in the center now, and they're like all like crammed onto the edges of the pickup truck. And like every bump, I'm just like, oh, like that. And then, so they like drive me back to the house, and then the house I was staying at was like another quarter mile through the coffee farm to the house. And at this point, I'm like in so much pain that the neighbor comes by and like just slings me over his shoulders and just carries me like army style back to the house over his shoulders. And so at this point now I'm like, oh my God, like I broke something. I'm stuck in Nicaragua. I can't even get a message out because there's like the closest English speaking person, there was like a town that was probably an hour away by bus that had one English speaking person in it that I knew of. And then, so I would have to somehow get a message to them and explain what the message was. The whole thing was like a disaster. So for the next 2 days, I like laid in my bed, which happened to be like these like wooden planks that were like very spaced apart with this super thin like pad on them. So like you would you would put your elbow down and it would like go through the planks, like in between the planks. So I just like laid in bed for days, like a few days, while like the baby would come and like play on the bed and then like pee on the like pad and stuff like that. And so I like was trying to like figure it out. The next day actually felt slightly better, definitely not able to get up. And then each day felt a little bit better, so I didn't even end up sending the message. And then eventually after about a week I could get up and walk, and then after 2 weeks I was okay. So I don't know what happened. I think maybe I dislocated my hip or something like that and it was swollen. But that was one of my stories from Nicaragua.
Did you learn anything from the experience or any moral of the story?
I don't know if there's much learning stuff. If you put yourself in different situations, you might get a good story out of it.
That's good. Is that it?
That's it.
Show the baby one more time.
All right.
Here's little Jamesy. He's about 7 days old. That's our dear, sweet baby James.
All right.
Sayonara.